Right, so I want to find a way to do this without looking utterly weird in public. But yeah, I'm just strolling from the gym back home. I just trained legs, and I had a pretty good session to be honest. It wasn't like anything crazy, but it was fairly decent, good effort. Which is the most important thing is always just to give your best. But yeah, so this video is not really for the average lifter. Like, so this is more for someone that's like competed or considered competing or gave a lot of their time to bodybuilding, especially if you did so not naturally, right? So um, yeah, so there's this issue right now in the industry that I don't think that I would have known had I not kind of broken free from it. And I'm thankful that I have. You know, it took me a long time to get over this fear, but what happened was after lockdown, I kind of stopped considering competing. I stopped bodybuilding in the conventional sense and started to realize that I wasn't sure what the future would look like and how long I could wanted to sustain the bodybuilding lifestyle for. And it's kind of scary when you're in lockdown, when there's it feels like the world is ending and like there's no one to so to speak help you. It's almost like you feel like you're stuck on your own in your own house, and then you imagine this idea of imagine you were in a post-apocalyptic world where everyone's living in the forest and there's no technology and nothing available, whatever. How would you survive if you were not natural, if you were just like a bodybuilder? Like, how could you maintain that lifestyle, living off the land, so to speak? It's nearly impossible. You have to be able to sustain yourself, and that's the issue. So part of the reason why I ended up deciding to make this change in my life was because I also had this idea that I was maybe gonna try a mixed martial art fight one day. And obviously you can't do mixed martial arts if you're enhanced. And I just found it kind of silly that if I was out wherever, I had to rely on some substance to keep me normal. It was just fucking weird. I just found the idea so weird. After a time, it's like once you get over the idea of bodybuilding, competing, and once you're kind of over the whole thing about getting as big as possible, and it gets old, to be honest. I mean, you can still train, you can still look good, but sometimes you just have to get over that whole obsession with being as muscular as possible and realize that it doesn't really matter, and it's not really that practical either. It's not a very practical way to live, and it's just, I'm so glad that I just decided one day, screw it. I'm not going to keep taking gear if I feel like it's not making me happy. It's not fulfilling me. It's just like it's becoming more of a like a stress or a burden on me. So I committed to a post-psychotherapy like June, maybe May. I don't know, but the way I did it, I structured it very carefully. So you have to make sure if you're enhanced, this. Obviously, you know what an ester is, and you know what a half-life is, and so you know that you need to clear around 5 or more, maybe 5 or 6 half-lives of your ester to actually be clean from the substance, the active substance anyway, and only then can you actually start to recover. Before that, you just kind of pissing in the wind. Before that, you really aren't accomplishing anything, and that's why a lot of guys try PC and they fail. You have to really plan it out. You have to structure it. You have to know what you're doing, and then if you have a good plan, it should work. I've been off for almost 6 months now, and in all honesty, my physique hasn't changed much at all. Obviously, it has changed somewhat. It's, you're not gonna stay as muscular, as lean. Well, not lean. Well, you do lose some leanness just because you've lost muscle mass, and obviously, the more muscle mass you have, the leaner you are at whatever weight you are. So right now, I'm 77 kilograms this morning fasted. 77 me with a bunch of PEDs, I'd probably look a lot leaner. I'd probably be a lot bigger as well. And I just look harder and more dry and more vascular. But obviously not being on PEDs, being 77, I'm holding a bit more fat compared to, you get the point. So I mean, you don't look as big and everything. So it's something you've got to concede and make peace with. But in all honesty, it's unrealistic to want to look super dry and super vascular all the time, and it's just not really there's really no benefit. I mean, if you really think about it, it's just unless you really want to compete, unless it's your life and you've committed that you want to compete your entire life, just come off. A lot of guys, they say, oh, I've been using gear for 5 years, 10 years, whatever, or well, 10 years is pretty bad. I mean, but by 10 years, if you started at 20 or something, maybe 25, and 10 years in and you're in your 30s, and by that point you're pretty screwed. I'm not gonna lie. By that point you're pretty much all screwed. I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but you're pretty far gone, unfortunately. But if you're someone who's like me, not even 30 years old yet, you're still 25, 27, whatever, and you've been using for 4 or 5 years, and you've kind of gotten over it, and you have this idea that you need TRT now for the rest of your life. Please don't fall in that trap. You don't need TRT. You just need a plan. That's all you need. A plan and some faith. That's pretty much all you need. A plan, faith, and some willpower. If you train really fucking hard, you stick to your diet, you don't eat like a piece of shit, and you have self-belief, and you have the drive to maintain your physique even off the stuff you don't use it as a crutch to say, oh, well, now that I'm off, I'm gonna look like shit. No, if you stay motivated and driven, and you stay dedicated to your training and your diet, and you keep eating clean, and you'll have to reduce your calories. I've noticed my maintenance has dropped by around 500 calories already, if not more, maybe 800, as much as 800 it's dropped, just because of muscle mass and also just other processes that benefit from PEDs. Man, I definitely can't eat as much as before, and you have to commit to it. You have to be okay with just eating less food and just doing what's required, honestly. But this whole thing about, oh, I'm 25, 26, 27, I've been taking, to be honest, I don't really care. I'll tell you what I did, because I mean, I used to, so I mean, it doesn't really matter anymore. I'm not on, so I don't own any PED, so I mean, it's neither here nor there. But when I was still in the game, so to speak, between 2019 January and May, I had been shut down pretty much for the entire period. So that's what, more than 4 years straight. A 4-year cycle, pretty much. 4 years of blast cruise, no joke. 4 years of blast cruise, and I'd used Deca, numerous times. Used EQ, Winstrol, Anavar, Masteron, Test, obviously. Yeah, and probably I Superdrol for a short bit, and I used LGD, Osterine, and Rad. I tried all three songs because of fucking why not, right? Not at the same time, that'd be stupid, but I tried them all. I tried a bunch of stuff, and honestly, I was shut down more than anyone. I mean, I was one of the most shut down people you could have met. I was the definition of shut down. I mean, my fucking body forgot what test production even was for a while there, and I lost fertility numerous times. I mean, you know, you lose fertility when you're shooting blanks. You know, you just know, like you can tell when you've lost fertility. Also, you'll end up losing sex drive too and stuff. So you know what, you know when you're fucked. You kind of know. So I mean, I don't even think I've regained fertility by this point, but yeah, I've regained test production for sure. I'm too afraid to go get my test checked because I don't want to see the number, because I feel like if I see the number and it's really bad, it'll end up being like worse, almost like placebo. So if I just don't get my test checked, I should be fine, just because I feel fine and I'm looking fine and everything's working fine. Like everything's going good physique wise. I've been training. We're doing martial arts training. I've been training, you know, obviously weights and stuff quite frequently. I've been recovering fine. I will say my recovery was kind of shit for like 4 weeks or so. Somewhere in the process of PC, I don't know. Somewhere along the like I think like 4 weeks or up to 6 weeks after finishing the PCT, like once I was clear of anything that was bolstering, like, you know, sex hormone production, like there was like a 6 week lag period where like I kind of did feel a bit like shit, and I had like some issues recovering, and like, you know, I did feel like it was harder to stay lean. But now, like now that it's been, I finished PCT in July, like the last week of July, more or less. So it's been like what, August, September, October. It's been about 3.5 full months now since I even have touched a PCT drug, and honestly, now I feel really good. I feel a lot better now. By this point, I feel like now things are actually finally back to normal, and I mean, it's awesome, man. Like, it's awesome not having to rely on, you know, shit to just live. It's really nice to be able to know I can just fuck off to the forest if I want to and, you know, survive, and not have to worry about losing all my muscle and fucking, you know, developing fucking boobs, right? So yeah, it's nice, it's cool, it's fun, it's fun. And you know, so please, if you are struggling with this issue, use me as an example, and, you know, a point of reference that, you know, if you feel like you're far gone, trust me, there is a way. Like, you can do it. Just have a plan, execute the plan, and stay dedicated to your diet and your training, and don't, because a lot of the guys, what they do is they get on PCT and they just fucking, you know, stop training because they're like, oh, I'm not gonna get anymore. Stop training. Can't train hard now. I'm fucking natty. Like, what the fuck? What? It's insane. And then same with like the diet. Like, guys go off again and they're like, oh, time to eat fucking McDonald's every day. What? Insanity. Anyway, so that's all. Cheers.